What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Unscripted with Tiga. On today's episode, we'll be talking about watches. And basically, if you have no idea how to go about purchasing your first watch, this video is for you. If you're looking into maybe getting your first watch for maybe some milestone in your life, maybe you just got married, maybe a promotion at work, or maybe you just want to watch and you're tired of taking out your phone each time you want to look at the time. Maybe you just want to go old school, look at your wrist and know what time it is. So I'm gonna go through the do's and don'ts when trying to purchase your first watch and why you should get a watch maybe in 2026, or maybe why you shouldn't get a watch in 2026. Let's just get into it. So now, before we move forward, don't forget to like and subscribe and watch out for the next video. I'll just get right into it. I love watches. I made a lot of dumb mistakes, and hopefully we're able to talk about what you shouldn't do, what you should look out for, and eventually you get something you do like. So the first thing I'll say is set a budget. Set a budget that is true to who you are. Like, do not never borrow to buy a watch. That's one thing I will stress the most. I've never done it, and I'll never recommend anybody does it. A watch, as much as we love it, is not a necessity. It's not something you're going to look back at and be like, hey, I borrowed money to buy that watch. No, except this is me speaking because, like certain watches like the Rolex Daytona that go up, yeah, I might borrow to buy that watch. But I'm just joking. But for real, don't borrow to buy a watch. Stick to your budget and you'll find something you love in it. Never buy a watch because a YouTuber or any other person on the internet or some influencer or celebrity is telling you to buy that watch, or it's not worth it. Go into an AD, for example, and try out various watches, various brands. Try what you think could work for you. You just look at it. You may like it, you may not like it, but just try it out. Like, I had a case where before I purchased one of my first luxury watches, I actually had in mind that I wanted a 41 millimeter of this watch. But when I walked into an 80 and tried it out, it was huge. It just didn't work for me. But now I tried a 36 millimeter and that worked for me. It was perfect. So that's what I ended up going with. And I recommend always go to where you can measure your watch. Always go to where you can try it out. Once you can try it out, you know for sure if you want to spend that money on it. Now, another thing I want to talk about is fake versus authentic watches. I don't have a problem with anybody buying a fake watch. You do what you want to do with your money. That's your prerogative. The other thing for me is I personally won't buy a fake watch. It's just who I am as a person and something I just won't do. For various reasons. One, I want something that's gonna last a lifetime where I'm able to send it down to my kids. And a fake watch just won't do it. And yeah, I just feel funny giving my kid a fake watch. It just doesn't work for me. But if you have an authentic watch that you can stand behind, and the company that made it stands behind it, you're able to service it, you give it to your kid, maybe you engrave it, send it over to your kid, they're able to go down the line with it. And maybe they now can engrave their name and give it to their own kids. So it's kind of like a family heirloom, it goes down and it's cool. I love it that way. So with that said, another part about buying a fake watch for me, there are two kinds of people who buy fake watches. Let me derail a little. And these are the two kind of people. There's a guy who buys a fake watch just because he loves it. Like he's not trying to pretend he's okay. Let's say, for example, Rolex. Somebody buys a fake Rolex and is walking around like he's wearing the real Rolex. That's the kind of person I feel like it speaks to your character of who you are as a person, where you're able to fake. There's the whole fake it till you make it stuff. But if someone in the room is able to see that you're wearing a fake, that just destroys all the aura you thought you brought into the room, because they're like, that guy isn't real. Because they're like, if he's faking this, what else is he faking? So it just depends on the room in which you are, because most people do not know what you're wearing. That's just the truth. And that brings me to my next point. Never buy a watch to impress anybody. Do not buy a watch because you're trying to impress whoever it is. Nobody cares. Absolutely nobody cares. They don't care how much you spent on it. They don't care how much the technical data you know about the watch. They really do not care. The highest thing they can be like, hey, beautiful watch, and that's it, which is cool. So buy for you. Buy something you love. Buy something that's gonna get a lot of wrist time for you, not something that you're trying to impress someone else and make them feel like you've arrived. All that. That's a very dumb reason to buy any watch. And I see many people falling into this mistake of trying to buy to impress people. Don't buy to impress anybody. Do not borrow money to buy a watch. Never do it. Never do that. Another thing I want people to understand is you always want to be in a situation where you're comfortable wearing your watch. You don't want a situation where you're feeling uncomfortable because you're repaying a loan, or however it is you got the watch, or you're repaying something. Maybe you got into debt for this watch. Maybe you're stretching out financially to pay for this watch. Don't do that. That's not something you do, because each time you wear the watch, it's just a reminder of how stressed you are. You're stressing. So rather than having fun wearing your watch, you're stressed the whole time, because you're like, how do I pay back for it? Maybe you're taking what you're paying for 2 years, 3 years. Makes no sense. Do not do it. And the other mistakes I've made, which I feel every watch person has made, is impulse buys. Impulse buys is where basically you see this watch you really like and you just pull the trigger on it. I'm telling you not to do it, but you'll probably do it. If you're a watch person, you've probably already done it. But sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you might just look back at it and be like, oh, why did I do this? Why did I pull the trigger on this? And sometimes you're like, oh, I'm happy I did this. But more often than not, you're not going to be happy you did it. So my recommendation, sleep over it. Take your time. Research the brand. Watch YouTube videos on this watch. Be sure it's something you actually want to get. Walk into an AD. Try it out. If it's something you like, go ahead, purchase it. But if you're having doubts, like you feel like it's not it, take your time. Slip off on it. And, if you still feel like you want to get it, then get it. But most often, if you chill a little, you might just notice you don't want to get it. More expensive doesn't equal better. Most people have the impression that the more expensive your watch is, the better it is. No, it's not always the case. That's not always the case. You can get a very good Seiko for 1/10 the price. Oh no, 1/100th the price of a Rolex, and probably get the same pleasure. So the more money you spend on a watch doesn't equate the pleasure you get from it or you derive from it. No, that's not gonna happen. Like this is a Casio. I own quite a few watches, and I get enough or a lot of wrist time out of this Casio, probably more than I'll have from my Rolex. So you guys should not feel the more expensive a watch, the more pleasure you get from it. No. Once you love each of your watches, you're able to interchange them, give each one its wrist time and love each one for what it is. Each watch has its time. This is a beater. This is an everyday watch for me. I'm able to throw it through anything I want, and that's a good thing with G-Shocks. You can do anything with it and it's gonna hold up. Another thing not to do is I do not recommend buying your first watch a luxury watch. If it's the first watch you're buying, definitely do not buy a luxury watch. And why do I say so? You still have a lot to learn. And when I say a lot to learn, it's not anything hard to learn. No. It's mechanical watches come with extra stuff. Like after a certain period of time, you have to service the watch. You have to, maybe it's a hand wind, you have to wind the watch. You have to wear the watch often for it to, keep working. It doesn't work on batteries. So you need to be sure it's something you want to do before you shed out a huge amount of money. So my recommendation is get maybe a Seiko or Orient or Citizen mechanical watch and try it. Wear it for a couple of days. Own the watch, wear it, have fun with it and see if it's something you actually like, or you just want to stick to your quartz watches. You want to stick to a quartz watch, you're not gonna spend. Quartz watches are inexpensive, so you're good to go. But don't start with luxury watches. Get into it, know what you want. Do you like sports watches? Do you like dress watches? Do you like tool watches? Do you want something to wear every day, or do you want something in between that does kind of everything a little, but not a full-fledged dress watch or full-fledged sports watch. Those are things you want to know before you actually purchase a watch. Be true to yourself. If you can't, if you don't like it, don't buy it. Don't buy something because it's the trend or you see people. Oh, before I forget, what not to do? Do not buy this. What I call it? This, when I say luxury brands, I'm not talking about Rolex. I'm talking about the Gucci's and the this dress watch. Yeah, don't do that. Don't. Those are watches that are just like, they just want to take money out of you. They're not good in any shape or form. The watches that any watch person will tell you not to buy for various reasons. It's it's not well made. It's just banking off the name of the, let me say, the fashion house. Oh, that's the name. Fashion house watches. fashion fashion watches. So fashion watches are stuff where let me say Gucci and the other ones. But except for Louis Vuitton. Like Louis Vuitton is doing some amazing work with watches. So I'm gonna take Louis Vuitton out of that circle. Like, I've been following them and what they're doing with the watches now. Like, they're stepping out of the fashion game and actually getting into watches for real. And I really appreciate what they're doing with it. But the other guys like Gucci and what, there are a lot of them. Like, once you get into a store, like any regular store, those ones right in front of you, you want to avoid those. You really want to avoid those. They don't last. I can go for hours talking about how bad they are. Just don't get them. It's not worth your money in any shape or form. Don't get them. And the other one you don't want to get is stuff like Invicta. Or don't get a big watch. Like, most people feel like the bigger the watch you wear, the more manly it is, or something like, don't do that. Big watches just don't say anything. At some point, it's more like the watch is wearing you rather than you wearing the watch. Watches are meant to be elegant on your wrist. So look for something that works to your wrist. I've been guilty of it. I had a very huge watch. T-Boy, shout out to you. And he gifted me this watch and it was so huge, but he's a bigger person. He had a bigger posture and he had a bigger wrist. He gifted me this watch and I loved it so much. I wore it for so many years and it was so huge on my wrist. And after some time getting this watch, I was like, I don't wear that anymore. So I'm not saying here to judge anybody or stuff, but after some time you got to understand that you don't want a watch wearing you. You wear the watch. So the bigger it is, it's not subtle. Watches are meant to complement what you are or who you are as a person and what you're wearing. It's a complementary accessory. It's not meant to shout all through, but it depends on what you're wearing, because some watches, are showstoppers for a reason, and good reason. We'll talk about it in a separate video. But yeah. And I'm gonna just end the video right here. I'm just gonna, because I can talk about this forever. So let's just end this right here and just say, when you're getting your first watch, have a budget. Do not borrow. Pick what you like. Don't go for expensive. Expensive doesn't equals better. Not always. That's not always the case. You can get something affordable in your range and you'll love it. Be sure to check the wrist fit. Be sure it fits your wrist. Yeah, if you guys have different opinions about all this, if you guys have different ideas, or you love big watches, or you feel you want to borrow, let me know in the comments. Let's talk about it. I'm not perfect. I'm just saying the mistakes I made. And yeah, some of them I didn't. Some of them are just basic common sense that I'm thinking is just something you shouldn't do. And some like impulse buys, I'm guilty of those. I have a few impulse buys. And catch you on the next one. Peace.